David Raya, it's got to be made abundantly clear who's the number one and who's the number two, and maybe something's got to be sold. Someone's got to be sold, and it stinks of, ironically, we're on the topic of a Chelsea keeper, right? So when they had Czech and Courtois, when we had Leno and Ramsdale and Raya, that would have been the thing. I guess for, whatever I've got to say, and I'm going to say it because you asked me a question, whatever I've got to say about Kepa, he has shown that he can maneuver in these situations. Like, pardon me, he wrestled his spot at Bournemouth and he did well there, showing an improvement, and he had a couple of keepers there. Obviously, at Real Madrid, he was fighting with a couple of keepers, and he done the same at Chelsea. I would say, Kepa, if you've got any, if you think we got to get to a final, but if you think you can do any of them antics you did against Sarri at Wembley, Mikel Arteta and them lot need to beat you up. So yeah, he's experienced, he knows the job. It's one less thing to worry about. I don't think he's a terrible keeper. Probably not breaking the wage bill. Push Raya all the way. I guess he's more likely to keep Raya on his toes than a Neto, with the greatest of respect. Might even be worth just getting Neto to be third choice, really, and let Tommy Setford go out on loan. That being said, I know he did all right at Bournemouth, and I don't want to. I'll give everyone a chance, and he plays for Arsenal, but I'm not convinced by him. Even as a number two in everything apart from if you're called upon, I'm not convinced. I'm convinced. But if we have to utilize you, I'm scared. I don't really rate you. I think you're known to drop clangers. I think you're a keeper that, and again, football is more complicated than this. But I think if, God forbid, if I got injured and Kepa has to play, teams that we play will have their systems and what they want to do on the pitch and all of that kind of stuff. But I just feel they'll say, have some shots at Kepa. Do you think he's a good shot stopper? Like how he's quick off his line. I mean, he's not the best ball playing keeper in the world, but he understands that. But I think there's a lot of fragilities. But I'll give him a chance, and it is what it is, man. So yeah, Kepa signed for Arsenal, people. Has he spoken? And to be fair, he has been part of winning sides that won the Club World Cup, Super Cup, Europa League, Champions League. He went Real Madrid and won the champs in the Super Cup there and had to compete for his spot. The man himself has said, I'm really, really happy to be here, really excited and looking forward to what's coming. The ambition that is shown in this club when I talk with Mikel Arteta and Inaki Kanya, who is the goalkeeping coach, how much they show me their desire to win. I think we are so close to winning, and hopefully all together we can achieve it. The one thing I give you, Kepa, I like the fact that you said we already, so you understand. Andrea Berta said, and to be fair, has anyone heard this guy speak? We are really excited to have Kepa join our Arsenal family. He's a player with great experience, someone who has already won major trophies, and we cannot wait for him to join the group and help the club win. Kepa knows it's an exciting time to be at Arsenal. We know he's a player who will bring with him a winning mentality. We welcome him and his family to the club and look forward to him meeting the players and staff, with everyone excited to see him. Would have preferred to see Zubamendi announce, people. Madueke does concern me. But again, you can see the tablet. We've got a lot of things to discuss in it. Kepa works really hard and will elevate our levels. I mean, by default, he's better than Neto, so by default, he has done that. We are really happy. We are really happy to have Kepa joining us. He's a player we know, having come up against him many times in recent seasons. Really, he brings a wealth of experience, which his teammates will benefit from. He has a real hunger to win. Kepa works hard and will elevate our levels. I know he will fit in perfectly already, knowing some of his teammates, and we are really excited about his future with us. Unfortunately, he's wearing my favorite shirt, and I hate the fact that keepers get the number 13, man. Smash the like button. Gyökeres and Eze is our final jigsaw. I mean, we got to get them through the door. Big up DG, yo chat, big up the mods. Come on, we should go for Xavi Simons. Wouldn't mind that. Would love to have Rodrygo, but he's way too unrealistic. But for my thing is this: get this squad filler. So Nordgaard's through the door, we're led to believe, right? Kepa's through the door. I wouldn't say he's a squad filler, more an area to address, and I think he's a level raiser. But Zubamendi through the door. Mascara looks like he's advancing in that direction. Between Sesko and Gyökeres, bring one of them in. If there is a chance to get Eze and we're not messing about, do all of that. Get the outgoings gone. The players that are more realistically going to leave, the Reece Nelsons, the Zinchenko's, all of those kind of players in that regards. If you do the bulk of the business, let's just assume we've done everything we needed in terms of the core business before the start of the season, then cool. Use the next month to go for Rodrygo, because that is a developing situation. But what I don't want to do is say no to Eze or no to this other left winger because we're chasing Rodrygo and things go left. We're left short-handed. So yeah, just get everything done. If that can be a surprise, why not? And we're going to get onto Eze, but I think it's very interesting. Ornstein once said we want 3 attackers. Apparently, Eze is wanted for his versatility and what he can bring to the squad. And on top of that, we want a left winger and a striker. That entices me. If we can get 3 attackers that help us in their own way, and Eze, who can play on the left, play in the 10, plays a false 9, plays at 8, you can see how that ties into our squad. Between Sesko and Gyökeres, we need a forward. Obviously, we're tailoring it around Rodrygo, cool. But if you could, let's just say random Joe Blogs, that's a good prospect or a good level of a left winger. You throw in the Sakas, the Wanyeris, Martinelli, Kai Havertz, Trossard, Merino up front, Kai Havertz up front. They could help us throughout a squad. I'm kind of cool there, and that would help me. That would tell me it's good. And to be fair, this might be the only season where, whether we rate the players or not, you've addressed every area, quote unquote. Like, you know, you need to buy a keeper, you know, you need to buy a defender, you know, you need a centre mid, you know, you need a left winger, you know, you need a striker. Normally, we do like 3 of the 5 or 1 of the 5, etc., etc. So that just tells me put your best foot forward. Kepa's apparently given an interview, and again, I'd rather read Zubamendi and Eze and Rodrygo what they got to say about joining Arsenal, but that has not been afforded to us. We're here to win. I like that. I think we have a great team. And to be fair, Kepa does bring experience like Norgard. I think we have great staff around here, the best facilities. So we have to prepare ourselves for this season and to have success. When I talk with Mikel Arteta and Kanya, they show me their desire to win. They show me ambition, how much they want to improve, how much they want to grow. And I'm really here to help, to push, and to win more. I spoke with Kai. He was with Martin. So we were talking. We had a good chat together. They already started explaining a little bit about how everything works and how good the atmosphere is right now in the change room. So I can't wait to join. He then went on to say, I guess with David Rao, he's a great goalkeeper and we have a very good relationship. Obviously, they're club teammates now and international teammates. And I'm sure if you're Kepa, obviously, you want to push him all the way, but you want to take Raya's spot. I'm sure you want to go off to the Spain squad. So Raya's going to have to look over his shoulder. And to be fair, there's a couple of Spanish keepers. You know, it seems like Unai Simon is, I don't think he's the best Spanish keeper, but he seems to be the one that starts. David Raya, we hope he's on the plane. Garcia of formerly of Espanyol, better yet now of Barcelona. And you've got Kepa, and there's probably some other guys I'm missing out. And I'm sure, well, keeper, he's still, I wouldn't say he's young for a goalie, but he's 30. There might be another international tournament, but there is that added carrot. You never know, people. We'll compete, we'll train together, we'll share a lot of time together, we'll have competition, as with all positions in the team, but with the only goal that is to win and be the best ones. Fair play. He said, Santi Cazorla, I can remember when he was here, I came with Athletic Club to play an academy game. We're in the stadium and I can remember his t-shirt in the club shop. So it's one of the memories that I have from a long time ago. I've come here as an opponent, but the atmosphere in the stadium is beautiful. Obviously, it's a big stadium, a top stadium with big fans. From outside, you can see how much they love the club, how much they support the club. And this for a player is amazing to have this support behind you. You'll have my support. I'll give everybody that. Arsenal have now signed a player from Chelsea in 6 of the last 7 seasons, mate. David Luiz, Willian, 2021-22, we didn't. Then Jorginho, then Kai Havertz, then Raheem Sterling on loan, and then Kepa. Of all of them names, I think I think Jorginho's been the best value for money. I think David Luiz had issues, but he was a lot better of a player than people gave him credit for. And, you know, you speak to Saka and Martinelli, was good for the young players. Kai Havertz is a mixed one because I think he's done better than a lot of people expected, but I wouldn't say he's been worth 65 million and that. And it's a peculiar situation. Raheem Sterling, you know, the one out of all of them, the one that you really wanted it to work, it didn't happen. And, you know, we hope Kepa's the next Neuer, innit? Well, it is what it is. David Ornstein, I have covered a video on this before, but Arsenal would look to do a deal for Eze at a lower price than his release clause. It's unclear whether a sale would need to happen first to facilitate a move, adding fuel to the fire. If you're a journalist now, you're making bare rumors up about Martinelli and also Trossard to facilitate a move. But this would be separate to their pursuit of a striker and a left winger. So we need to, you know, Eze, Premier League proven, 27, former Haylender, versatile, you know, addresses an area on that left-hand side we need, can help us unpick low blocks, can play 10, play left wing, play up front, play as 8. Is he a priority? Because you could say, without getting into names, Rodrygo, Sesko, Gyökeres, a priority is a striker, right? Equal priority is a left winger. So he's seen, well, he can play in both those roles amongst others, but is he a primary objective of those roles? So is he seen as a priority? That tells me not. It encourages me that the Eze thing is almost irrelevant from what we kind of need to do, people. I would love him at the club. Again, if you're Crystal Palace, you're going to say either pay his release clause or pay just over his release clause or pay what his release clause is, but in terms that make sense, not this, we're giving you 2 million in 10 years type of thing. If Arsenal go and do that, again, it seems like Arsenal the only ones interested in Eze at this moment in time, and Spurs previously. If Eze is genuinely available, you'd imagine a bunch of teams going for him. Crystal Palace probably want to keep him. Simultaneously, they're probably admitting to themselves, they probably knew, regardless of how the season panned out, this is what's going to happen. And it wouldn't, it wouldn't be silly for him to stay. You're going to be playing in Europe. You just won an FA Cup. It is a World Cup year where form and leaving clubs, it can fluctuate people. So you got to put down the bread. And we're playing this budget thing quite weirdly. If we've been cut pricing, we've committed 50 odd million for Zubimendi. Is it fair to say 50 all the way to maybe 80, 90, 100 if Rodrygo would left wing? Striker is setting you back 60 to 80 loose million. I don't know if I mentioned Zubimendi before. Obviously, it's not the biggest of fees, but you throw in the 5 million of Kepa, the 9.5 for Norgard, the 17 to 20 million that's being projected for Mosquera. You could offset that with some sales, more so the ones that need to go. And then there might be an unpopular or random sale. I have 3 players come to mind. An offer might come for Martinelli that you can't reject. If you get in a left winger and Eze, maybe they change their tune on Leandro Trossard and he moves. I'd say Kivior as well, because it seems like Kivior has admirers. I wouldn't sell him, but I can't imagine a reality where Kivior says, you know what, Gaffer, I understand, Magalhaes is ahead of me. I want to go somewhere. I want to play football. This team's interested. That team's interested. But then I always say, Kivior's linked with a lot of these Italian clubs. I think the Italian clubs will come to Berta, and Berta's not an idiot, and sit there and say, we ain't got money. Can we have a loan with an option? It'd be interesting. And we all know the obvious players that need to go. Free Noni Madueke, Arteta can free, and forget that, man. Forget all of that. Forget that. Come on, people, only 4 likes so far. You lot hate me, man. I soon stop streaming, man. You lot absolutely hate me, man. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Can't wait to see Eze in action next month. Steady, tranquilo. I need to see medicals and things of that ilk. Ben Jacobs has said Arsenal value Eze below his 68 million release clause. There's been no bid today, but Arsenal's interest is serious and advancing. Eze is understood to be keen on the move to Arsenal. So we've heard over the weekend, we've held talks broadly about personal terms, right? Clearly, Arsenal like him. Regardless of the core business we've got to do. Striker, left winger, goalie, centre mid, etc. But we reckon he's worth less than his release clause. So that tells you we like him, but there's negotiations. We have no plans to either pay his release clause outright, or we might tailor a deal that hits that release clause or just over, but it's got to make sense. How much do you want, Eze? I'm not sure. And how much is Eze prepared to advance the move? And when is this going to advance? Obviously, Arsenal are spinning multiple plates. Like other clubs, we're announcing deals. We're probably getting people done. We're doing new contracts. We're doing things, but how much of a priority is this? I don't know. And I'd love to see it happen before pre-season. I did cover this before, but the Athletic said one case to keep an eye on is Arsenal and Eze, the 27-year-old. And I just want to throw this out there. I could be wrong, but I think if you get Eze, you don't get Gyökeres. I don't think they're going to bring in 2 27-year-olds. Would I? Yes, because 27, it's not 97. You still got many years, but our club is a resale value and stars of tomorrow and longevity and all of that stuff. I could be wrong. I'd be happy, but you get the point. He is among a number of options being considered as Mikel Arteta's men seek a versatile attacker. And he also could play off that right-hand side. Contact, and he's a mean free kick taker. Contact has yet to be made with Crystal Palace. So, again, for all the hype, we haven't began any official dialogue with Crystal Palace. But serious consideration is being given to the idea at the Emirates Stadium. No other clubs have the same level of interest at present. Now, that could advance. We previously heard City were keen on him. Eze is not a player Tottenham have targeted to date. The England forward has a release clause in his contract worth in excess of 60 million. But should they proceed, Arsenal would try to do a deal below that price. It is unclear whether a sale might be needed to facilitate such a move, but the situation is separate to their pursuit of a striker and left winger. Obviously, sales could impact stuff, but this tells me that we, maybe not necessarily Eze, but we wanted a striker, we wanted a left winger, we wanted a quote-unquote versatile ringer kind of player. Centre mid with Zubimendi naturally, defensive additions. Defensive additions, midfield additions, potentially 2 as we're seeing with Norgard now if Partey leaves. So you could say that maybe it is. So we could have done all of that, and it's irrelevant. We could have factored all of this in, and it's irrelevant from selling Martinelli and Trossard and Kivior and this one and that one. But then there is an element of needing to sell. It's quite a peculiar situation for us. Arsenal's interest in left-sided attackers Rodrygo, Anthony Gordon, and Williams is well established. These deals, sorry people, let me turn off this fan. I don't want it to mess up you lot's thing. These deals would come at a considerable cost. Of course, Rodrygo's going to cost bare money, and he's going to need big boy wages. Newcastle are going to make it difficult for us. And again, I'm skipping ahead, but apparently Jason Ito could become their sporting director. I think Arsenal and Newcastle's kind of beef that you see on the field and fizzling out is because of the board people. Let's be honest, Arsenal are one of the clubs that are against the Saudi owners and whatnot, and that kind of stuff there. Anthony Gordon and Nico Williams is well established. These deals would come at a considerable cost and would require the departure of one of the club's existing wide options to balance the books. If it came to it, I'd rather sell Trossard than Martinelli, but I'm kind of easy in either or. Arsenal also exploring the addition of a more versatile attacking player such as Noni Madueke, Eze, or Morgan Rogers. Arsenal being kept informed on a number of players to afford them flexibility in their planning, which we're going to need. Real Madrid have been clear with any player who wants to leave, bring an offer to the table. If it suits the club's demands, they can leave. Rodrygo brings something to Real Madrid. Sources close to Rodrygo are upset with his lack of involvement at the Club World Cup. I mean, sources close to him, that might be his friends, his family, whatever. They're going to want their boy to play. The arrival of France, isn't it meant to be Franco Mustantanto, could lead to Rodrygo's role being reduced in the coming months. It's worth keeping close eye on his situation. I think every Arsenal fan will. Sam Dean of The Telegraph said, Arsenal have been exploring the conditions of various deals for attackers across Europe. Arsenal are known to have a strong interest in Rodrygo and could also make a move for Anthony Gordon. I'm not saying we're more likely to get Rodrygo than Anthony Gordon, but I picture a reality where we will bid for Rodrygo more so than Anthony Gordon, if I'm honest. Both are going to come with serious peace. So, yeah, our interest stems from his ability to play as both an attacking midfielder and out wide, but he is not in place of other left wing targets. So, again, how much of a priority is he? Sky Germany have been speaking about Noni Madueke. Arsenal have already submitted an offer allegedly for Madueke. He could leave Chelsea in the summer. Talks have started. Madueke is one of several top profiles Arsenal are assessing for this position. Arsenal still considering a transfer for Rodrygo should he leave Real Madrid. And you're seeing as high as 50 million for Mr. Madueke. And I don't believe it with I do believe there's an element of interest with Madueke. We've been bargain hunting at Chelsea, and he is English. There is the element of futureness in him, like he could play for years. I could see why. I'm sure he'd be attracted to Arsenal. It's a big club. You're staying in London, English boys there and whatnot. But then when I break it down for me, obviously, I think Nwaneri's future is either as an 8 or a 10. Arteta said he could play up front. In the short term, at the very least, one angle for him is to deputise or come get off the sub bench or play in place of Bukayo Saka. I reckon Noni Madueke believes, and I've never had this conversation with him, his best position is off that right-hand side. Saka's playing there all day, and I wouldn't want, who am I? I'm just a fan. I wouldn't want Nwaneri's minutes. Sorry, people. Where's my fan, man? Oh, is it there? Sorry, folks, man. Oh, there it is. Boiling, man. See what I'm smash the like button. See what I'm doing for you, look. But yeah, I wouldn't want Nwaneri's minutes cut. I think his best position for him would be off the right, so that makes that a myth. Play off the left. How long is that gonna bang? Your wages, I don't think he'd be on handsome wages, but naturally, if you're Madueke, you're an England international, you're playing for Chelsea, you're moving to Arsenal, nobody takes a wage cut. You're going to push for 100 odd grand a week conservatively, maybe a bit more than that, and probably get a 4 or 5 year deal. I do like his attitude because I've seen plenty of footballers that are amazing. Like they can do, you couldn't get the ball off them in a phone box, but they don't believe in themselves. I'm not saying he ain't got ability. He clearly does because he played for big clubs. He's doing big things. But I think he believes he's better than he is, if I'm completely honest with you. And I kind of like that. That being said, if we were to get Madueke, like if you didn't get Eze, Rodrygo, forget them two or any other names that we've been linked with, it would just tell me that I hear you got to be able to pivot and whatnot, but it's told me not everything's gone to plan, if I'm honest with you. So there you have that. Boy, why have I got that same tweet twice? What's this when it cares to load? Big up hand of Arsenal, man. Arsenal on Madueke. The club have been speaking to his reps the past few weeks. The club hold genuine interest in Noni, but talks are not advanced on personal terms. No proposal made to the player either as of today. Now, things can advance very quickly, but talking happens all the time, so that don't really mean much. Chelsea club officials have denied any bid being made. It doesn't make sense for Chelsea to confirm or deny anything. Player side, the player has expressed interest in our project, but has reservations about competing with Saka. Well, naturally. Furthermore, the player is not keen on playing left wing either. In truth, the interest is genuine, but as of today, it is as you were. And there's some other clubs that were linked with Madueke, where if he wants to be held in higher regards, probably better off going there. I want to ask you, lot, if you had to sell Martinelli and Trossard to finance a move for Rodrygo, like, let's just imagine a world. Rodrygo's on joining us, Real Madrid are on selling, Berta's dotted I's and crossed T's. It can happen. But we need to sell Trossard and Martinelli to get that gone. Would you do it? Arsenal are not looking to sell Martinelli, according to CBS club sources. Every player in the squad has their price, but there's no internal pressure to sell Martinelli to fund business. So again, that kind of directly contradicts, I would say, what we saw already with we might need to sell to finance the Ezes and all of these things. Things are ever changing, and we've got to have an ability to pivot, but it directly contradicts based on what we saw. So again, let me know your thoughts. What one are you choosing to believe? Because we hear we can spend upwards of 200 million with no PSR issues. We've been told that for the last year, actually. Bayern Munich are admirers of Martinelli. Well, Al Nassr have held internal discussions, but we hear with Al Nassr, he's the backup to Luis Diaz and a couple of others. But they've not put together a proposal for Arsenal's consideration and are currently not preparing a bid. So the headline that these clubs are into him, and when you read the article, nothing is happening at this moment in time. Crucially, sources close to Martinelli indicate he would not be prepared to consider a move to the Saudi Pro League at this stage of his career, people. Now it's July. Martin Zubimendi will become an Arsenal player. Charles Watson said he'll be in training tomorrow, which surely Arsenal announced that. I need to get this tactical video out for you. Like, allow me. I'm juggling plot pots. I'm trying to do the Norgard one, Zubimendi, Eze now. Allow me, mascara, all of these things will be out for you lot. So please turn on your notifications, man. It's not just transfer videos. We're going to try and do everything. Follow on all the socials, especially TikTok. Come, man, you lot, type in Deluded Gooner on TikTok. Don't violate. Support the movement, man. Support the movement. Yeah, respecting Sociedad's wish to include the deal in their 2025-26 accounts. The formalities of Kepa Arrizabalaga move has largely been concluded, and an announcement is also pending. Now, obviously, since that initial Athletic article came out, which I did a video on this morning, it's been officially confirmed, as we just read with Kepa. Christian Norgard is expected to undergo a medical at Arsenal this week and finalise his move. The sporting director of Brentford said that is moving in the right direction. Partey's cut. Valencia have held several meetings with Christian Mosquera's camp in which they have pitched their plan for his development and the club's future. Arsenal, however, are determined to prize Mosquera away and are expected to return with a second bid. When I look at Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba in particular, and Lewis Skelly's development, if we can develop one thing under Arteta, it's been defenders, isn't it? Ben White as well. You can throw him into that mix, and I'm keen to see what it holds for Calafiori. He can play left-sided centre back, right-sided centre back, right back. I think we've got false depth because on paper right now, obviously, unfortunately, Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, they were probably older a hamstring injury. Benjamin White was probably older lengthy layoff for the last few years, or basically since he's got here, he's been ever present. The amount of minutes, big up Timber. Because this ain't been you fully fit and you set the bar very high. But the amount of minutes he's had to play post ACL, unfortunate. Tomiyasu, 6 minutes of Premier League football. Calafiori's been out for 100 days. We have got depth, but we ain't really got depth. So I'm on bringing this guy in. And it is cheaper than a house. And even though I would have been on that. Gurhi, I would have been on that. Victor Rice, who's barely getting a look in at City, I would have been on that. So yeah, bring the guy to the carpet, man. And I think naturally he's going to want to compete. You never know what could happen for you. You're Spain under 21s international. You never know with a good run of form what could happen for you. You know, you really don't know. So yeah, man. And Arteta's gonna have to be cute and clever. We have heard Gyökeres has no intention to come back and play for Sporting following the president's quotes. Apparently, his camp and Gyökeres already informed the club about it. Swedish striker insists on pact made last year over some exit. He's now feeling tired and betrayed, people. His 60 million euros clause is now active as of Tuesday. If Arsenal or any other club make a bid of this value and Sporting refuse, they will have to compensate the agent with 10% of the value. Is that in the contract though? Because if that's just a gentleman's agreement, because 1 minute man are vexed over this gentleman's agreement, they're not following through on it. So far, to me as a fan, we know for a fact he's got 100 million euros clause. So is there a contract where you've got 100 million euros clause and this whole, if someone bids 60 million, we have to owe you some bread? If it's not in the contract about if someone bids and you don't accept, then the agent gets 10% of the commission, then it's a madness. I think the agent and Sporting are not seeing eye to eye, and it is affecting indirectly Gyökeres, really. And I guess Arsenal, Man United, at some point, everyone's just going to have to say, you know what, F you lot, we're doing other things. So yeah, as of Tuesday, if Arsenal or any other club make a bid of this value and Sporting refuse, they'll have to compensate the agent with 10% of the value. The Lions, obviously Sporting, have warned that if this happens, they will demand 100 million euros. So the only loser would be Gyökeres, because United, Arsenal aren't paying that. I don't have TikTok. The thoughts were there, man. Talk was a month ago that a new deal was on the table for Trossard. It's gone quiet, you know. It's gone quiet. But even that, the new deal don't really make sense, because some reports were saying, we're giving him a new deal, but we're not extending the terms. We're just giving you more money. I hear it. If you feel that he's undervalued, I hear it. But from an Arsenal fan point of view, it don't really make sense. You're giving him more money and not extending the terms. It's not making sense. You need a cold drink. I do. I thought DG was joking, but Newcastle were considering Jason Ito as sporting director. Why'd I lie to you lot, man? If Martinelli took a pay cut, he could stay. Otherwise, both need to go. I don't really care how much they get paid, but naturally, him and Martin Odegaard, we're getting into the realm where we're talking about new deals for you lot. I think Odegaard will bust case because he's central to Arteta's plans. And, I think only a couple of players in our squad have played more minutes than Martinelli, but it's very different. So, yeah, man, you're right on that. But who's got the bigger market? Because how much are people going to bid for Martinelli? I reckon Arsenal would. I reckon if I'm buying, I'm coming with 40 million. I'm coming with 40 million for Martinelli. That's a significant upgrade on the 6 million you spent. Yada yada yada. Now we know Martinelli's form has been on the floor and all those things, but he is a Brazilian international. Played a lot of games for Arsenal. The older he gets, the more I'm thinking that that. Remember that year he got 15 goals or double figures, whatever it was, that might have just been a purple patch. But there is that element of maybe the penny will drop. And to a degree, I do believe if Martinelli went to a team that's more direct and keen on the transition, I think he'd do a lot better. Go and watch half of his performances come when we're in those kind of crazy games sort of thing. But yeah, there is the scope that Martinelli goes somewhere. At 24, he's got many years. Barring his hamstring injuries ever present, the penny might drop and he becomes a player. So Arsenal might want a bit more. And as somebody said earlier, the wages is on 190 grand. Bayern Munich are not paying him that. Now, if you're Martinelli, do you want to take less? I don't know. And I mean, weirder things have happened, but can we really see Martinelli going Saudi? So yeah, 60 million clause. We'll have to see, man. What do you lot make of it? It just seems like a lot of whispers from the media. Romano said the conversation for both Sesko and Victor Gyökeres is still ongoing, with daily contacts between all parties involved. Arsenal are on it, so let's see what they will decide. For sure, a new striker will be at Arsenal in the summer, by God's grace. We have heard this week that Leipzig have lowered the asking price for Benjamin Sesko. We're led to be believed that is 60 million. I'm not sure on the exchange rate, but Court Offside are saying sources close to Arsenal's deal for Sesko have informed Court Offside that the parties involved may be nearing a compromise on a fee in the region of 75 million euros. So that kind of indirectly is in the same realm. Hugo Ekitike has been linked with us. I don't believe that, because 1 minute we're more aggressively linked with Gyökeres, as it appears Leipzig are playing hardball. Then we hear nonsense from Sporting allegedly, so we're focusing on Sesko. When this kind of came out, we kind of heard Sporting and Leipzig are acting. So now we're looking at Hugo Ekitike as an alternative. He's going to come for the same fee. He's going to be sold for the same kind of fee, in my opinion, whether you believe these guys are good or not. Big up Lewis Skelly for signing a new deal. Big up Wanyeri. Hopefully he signs a new deal and becoming, another 21s championship winner with England. Tommy Setford is wanted by Stevenage on loan, but for the time being, he's required as the third choice goalkeeper. Bro, go and get some uncle that is 35. Make him sit on the bench. I wouldn't even mind Neto returning. Go and get a Dan Bentley we tried to get last summer. Go get a Dan Bentley, a Scott Carson, a Marcus Bintelli, them kind of third choice, man. I think he's a very good keeper. I don't know if you're going to make the grade at Arsenal because Raya isn't exactly old. I like him. I really like him. And I understand he's got, from a selfish point of view, you got to be a squad player and all of that kind of stuff. But I think he is a modern keeper. But there's only so much. You can learn a lot. People might laugh. He could learn a lot training with Kepa, because we could all say Kepa shit. End of the day, he's won multiple trophies, a Spanish international. He's cut out a top career, same as Raya, minus the trophies. There's a lot this young player can learn. But yeah, you can train with them and learn, and you might even get an occasional cup game as you did last year. There's no substitute for playing. He needs to go somewhere where people are fighting to stay in the, like I assume with Stevenage in League One, you're fighting for promotion, you're fighting to stay in the league. Managers are losing jobs, grown men strikers are trying to bully this young man from set pieces. Go learn, man. Go and learn. Because I do think even if you don't make the grade in Arsenal as a first, second, or third choice, this is a man that can make profit. Arsenal not stupid. You bought him from Ajax when you knew Raya was here. You tried to get Garcia as well, which didn't happen, but you would have had two keepers blocking this man's pathway. This is the next thing we need to do. We need to get better at sales, and whether we get players that didn't always come through our academy, but we source them and they're in our academy and they progress all the way. Bob's your uncle. I'd love 11 players from Hayland or from our academy all starting. But if you get man for the cheap, sell them at a profit for a team that's not going to do the Chelsea and City thing, there's more money to play around with, really. And I'd expect some young talents from other clubs, mainly for our 21s and 18s, to arrive this summer, if I'm completely honest with you. But I don't think people want to hear that. Chelsea have not ruled out making a move for Mohamed Kudus, but the belief is that they need to do some selling first. He's being aggressively linked with Spurs, which could give fuel to the fire with us, with Eze. Anyone having Nicholas Jackson? Probably not, but I got to ask the question. Newcastle United have shown interest in signing Xavi Simons. However, he doesn't want to join them. Seems like Newcastle have been slapped in the face when they've tried to go for players. Galatasaray have held talks with Partey and Gooner, and they want to sign a dominant midfielder this summer. Don't think you're going to get the wages that, even with a reduction, or if your wages stayed the same, or a short uplift, but not the uplift you wanted. I don't think you're going to get those wages you wanted at Arsenal elsewhere. To be fair, he is linked with Saudi, Galatasaray, a return back to Atletico Madrid, a move to Barcelona and Juventus. And to be fair, Juventus could get zanged. They could easily get zanged. Look at what they got Vlahovic on. So yeah, Ben Jacobs has said on Martinelli, he's one option for Al Nassr if they fail to land Luis Diaz. Arsenal are not actively looking to sell and have started exploratory extension talks. So what does that tell you? Martinelli ain't going nowhere regardless of this Eze thing, Sesko, Gyökeres, Rodrygo, who I don't think we're going to get, etc. However, Nassr believe a big offer could change their mind. Bring it. But then again, if you bid something mad, like 70 million, mad, like, I love Martinelli, safe, and give us a sell-on clause, safe. But what if Martinelli says, brother, I know people in the Brazilian squad have been called up. I'm 24. I don't want to go and do that. Doesn't matter. Nassr expect to seek clarity from Diaz first as to whether he's open to Saudi before advancing on other targets, people. Once again, Kepa has joined us. Big up, Berta. I need you to do this. So yeah, you know, as I said, Partey is attracting interest from Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus. He's left us as a free agent. Apparently, he's caught the eye of 2 clubs in Saudi, as well as teams from the United Arab Emirates and MLS, people. His contract expired yesterday. Pardon me. So it is what it is. 45 million, didn't get a penny. So yeah, it is what it is. Go do your thing. Jorginho's also left. Zubamendi and Norgard have come in. Keen to see how that develops, because in an ideal world, either one of Jorginho and Partey leaves. Obviously, both have. Arsenal can force Sporting sell today. Arsenal can force Sporting into selling Gyökeres from today if they place a 60 million euros bid and above. Okay, so we're going over the same things. Now, naturally, Arsenal probably want to get him for a bit cheaper, but if that made a lot of sense, because sometimes, you know, I know you always want to barter lower, but if it makes sense and you believe in the guy and, you know, you can have it, you'd get it done. Personally, I don't think he's the first choice for Arsenal. I think it's a Sesko thing. If there's any nonsense with Sesko, then other stuff happens. Apparently, we've reportedly submitted an initial offer to Madueke, which everybody's saying we're interested in Donny, but that kind of contradicts what we've seen. Don't know why I've got that twice. Is that leaving Newcastle is distinctly possible if he refuses to extend his contract? I don't believe that. We know he's staying, but between him being aggressively linked with Arsenal and us biting the bullet and him being linked with Liverpool, it seems like the journalists are squeezing every last bit of rumors they can, which the game's the game. You got bills to pay. I hear it, people. Back on the Eze stance, Arsenal are treating Eze as a major transfer target following a key meeting held with the Crystal Palace midfielders agent. We've gone over this. According to the Athletic, we want to negotiate for a lot less. We've been linked with Sesko, Gyökeres, Martinelli has been linked with a move away. Rodrygo, Leao, Rogers, Madueke, any takers? We've been linked with them. According to Romano, Eze himself would be open to a move back to Arsenal. People, he did leave us as a young man, but other than that, I don't really say much, really. So it's just echoing the same things. Arsenal are one of the clubs interested in Elanga. It wouldn't surprise me if, you know, if you're linked with the dreams of Rodrygo and Leao and Nico Williams and this one and that one, someone like Eze. Then you've got, you know, Eze, Morgan Rogers, them kind of ones, Anthony Gordon. Then you've got Elanga. If you're linked with Madueke, you're linked with Elanga, in it. These are youngish kind of players. I don't believe it. I can't lie. Elanga is cold. I'd rather buy Hudson Odoi. He's younger. Well, he might even not be younger. Tell it like it costs a lot less. Big up Forest and Newcastle have been trying to sell him, but 60 million. You might as well just pay the SAPs. Well, to be fair, like, we want a left winger regardless. I don't think Elanga's a bad player. The first time I ever found out about him was actually watching many years ago a youth tournament for Sweden, and just watching him, he done well. I'm sure the videos on my channel, I said he'd have a decent career. I didn't know he'd be playing Premier League. It genuinely shocked me when they were like, the commentator was like, "Oh, Man United's Elanga." To be fair, they could do with him now. Arsenal willing to reach value. Transfer war could escalate, and how Gunners could win. about Gyökeres, I just want to skip the Tosh, man. Okay. Palace are looking to get Diamande. Gyökeres, meanwhile, was somewhat relegated to a similar section of the newspaper's front page. After what is weeks of the player sulking, and Sporting refused to sell him to Arsenal for a hugely discounted fee. The Swedish striker must know time is moving quickly. Sporting have started pre-season training today, but Gyökeres has been given permission to return on July the 7th. The official reason for that is he's away with Sweden on international duty. He's been given extra days off. Delaying things until the 7th of July, which is Monday, isn't it? Next Monday, gives everyone some breathing space, and it would be no surprise if the date is pushed back further. Ebola reports something which may be significant to or for Arsenal, but yet it's been stated multiple times this summer that if Sporting receive an offer worth 60 million euros or more for Gyökeres and reject it, they will need to pay the players' agents 10% compensation, so a minimum of 6 million. That clause only became active today, July the 1st. The report further states Arsenal are willing to reach this value. Sporting want 80 million, and the club have made it clear that if the agent tries to use the 60 million clause by getting a club to offer that just so it can be rejected and trigger the payment, Gyökeres will revert to his 100 million buyout clause. We're not learning anything. It's worth Arsenal looking at previous Sporting transfers and process. When Lisbon were willing to sell Bruno Fernandes to United in 2020, they reportedly spoke about wanting 80 million for the midfielder. In the end, they paid a flat fee of 55 million plus 5 million after a number of appearances. So fair enough. So there were a whole bunch of nothing. It's just repeating the same old things. Renewal offer made, player now needs to sign or push to Arsenal. Again, we've gone over that whole stuff as well with Mosquera. And I have said, man, you know, Newcastle's transfer Supremo search intensifies with ex-Arsenal chief, a contender. Listen, Jason, I told you weren't going to get the sporting director at Arsenal. Newcastle's a big club, an exciting project, provides you with the opportunity of career progression. So I don't begrudge you or Edu or Vinay. Vinay's a pagan. I don't know why you went Spurs. You're absolutely pagan. Yeah, Vinay Ventukasham, you're a piece of shit. You look like a crook as well. You're a piece of shit for that one, man. Pussy hole. But anyways, that's... Well, he deserved that, innit? Don't appear that there's anything new there in that regard. So, yeah, man, we'll have to see exactly what's being said. But, boy, seems like the transfers are finally heating up. But Kepa's the only one confirmed. Can we bring in Eze Rodrygo and Gyökeres? Dreaming, man. Dreaming. Partey won't get what he would have got at Arsenal anywhere other than Saudi trust. Even with signing on fees, I don't see any team in Europe paying more than 180 per week. I agree with you. The only caveat is maybe his agent can work a blinder, but that's what I mean. Whether Arsenal were gonna, like, let's just say he was on 250. Let's just say we said, all right, we hear that you want an extension. We give you, rightly or wrongly, we give you 260, or we'll give you 190, or we'll give you 200. Regardless, or we'll keep the wages exactly the same. You're not going to get that at other places. You might. Weirder things have happened, but I can't see you getting that at Juventus, at Barca, at Atletico. I don't know how the finances work in MLS. Maybe you get the P's there. I don't know for that one. Saudi, 100% you would, provided you want to go there. Now, there's plenty of reasons to sign for Juventus, to sign for AC Milan, to re-sign for Atletico Madrid, to join Barcelona from a sporting and lifestyle perspective. Maybe they caveat that with giving you a longer term contract. Maybe Arsenal will giving you a 1-year deal with an option. Maybe these clubs will give you a flat 2-year, or maybe your agent might even be able to bump them and say 3 years, which would be crazy. So I have to see, man. Raya, Setford, Porter, and Kepa. Which of our goalkeepers are better? Raya's the oldest. Raya, naturally, Raya, Kepa, Setford, Porter. I like Porter and Setford though, but they're young tugs, man. My fear with Eze is it's more fuel for Arteta doesn't give youth a chance crew, as he will limit chances for the young AMs. But hey, you got to win things, innit? He probably will get a fat signing on for, yeah, because he's a free agent. Martinelli has been doing 2 jobs, man. What about the fact that Eze wants Arsenal? I mean, if he wants Arsenal and we want him, that's part of the job. But we need to dot I's and cross T's with his employers, Crystal Palace, which is very different. But did we not want Zaha? Zaha wanted us. We wanted Caicedo, and Caicedo wanted us. We wanted Mudryk, and Mudryk wanted us. And there was hardball. Like, it weren't easy even to get the Declan Rice deal over the line. Remember, we all had to wait for Raya as well. We tried to get Raya. Brentford weren't giving reception. We got Ramsdale in times that followed when it became clear, yo, we might be able to get Raya. Now we span the block. There's always drama when it comes to Arsenal signing big players, not so much for other clubs. It appears that way, man. Thing is, we pay twice as much to replace Nelly for 20% improvement. The top wingers just aren't realistic. Sell Trossard before Martin.